How's it going, Yankee fans? My name is Alex with my co-host here, Nick Nielsen, and today we're discussing Frankie Montas. If you haven't heard yet, he was just kind of, placed on a interesting situational list of going to get an MRI for his shoulder. Apparently, according to Meredith Marakovitz.
Yeah, Meredith Marakovitz.
Marakovitz.
Yeah, Marakovitz.
Marakovitz. Okay. Can't get that name sometimes. So Meredith Marakovitz of Yes Network reported that he had felt a shoulder impingement, and now he's, kind of like, I don't know what's going on. I feel okay, but it was bothering me yesterday, and maybe it's just an excuse for the shitty outings he just had. So we'll see what kind of comes back on the MRI. Reportedly, they don't think it's going to be anything serious. Maybe he misses one start, but he still thinks he's in line to, make his next start. So that's definitely good news. But we want to discuss his efficiency, his production. Definitely not what we've wanted from him leading up to the playoffs here. He's been bad, like across the board bad. And the thing is, like, his chase rate's okay. Like all the stats indicate he shouldn't be playing this poorly. But it seems to me that Matt Blake just made too many adjustments. Like, he got too excited with all the things he could do to make him a better pitcher, and in turn made him a worse pitcher, which I think kind of is what's happening here, because you can see his deliveries change since when he was with Oakland. There's definitely a lot of things that have shifted toward a different light, and I think that he's having a tough time adjusting to the new, things that they're implementing. But Nick, what are your thoughts on Frankie Montas so far? We're going to break down his stats and kind of what's going on.
It's just it's weird, to say the least. Like, there's no reason why whenever we acquire a pitcher, they should be worse when they come over to pitch for the Yankees. I don't get it, but it's something that the Yankees have had problems with for the past couple of pitching acquisitions, for the past few years, for starting pitchers at least. And everyone's calling Frankie Montas Sonny Gray 2.0. Like, this is not what you had wanted or what we had expected to see. But this injury stint, if he does go on the IL for it, it sucks. It's like, if it's shoulder impingement and he needs to be shut down, and the MRI does reveal some issues or whatever, which hopefully it doesn't, then that's going to be huge. Like, that's like, we acquired him to be our number 2 in the postseason behind Garrett Cole, and now he may not even be healthy enough to be pitching in the postseason. Like, it just sucks. And it does kind of explain a little bit why he's pitched really poorly recently. But the other thing is just that he has no, like, confidence in his stuff. Yesterday, I think he had like 15 3-ball counts. And it's like, you can't be doing this and expecting to win games. And that's why we lost. Like, Frankie only was able to go with three in the third innings. Like, what is this? Like, that's not what we expected. So hopefully, if he does get placed in the IL, it's like a quick 10 to 15 day little stint there, and then he gets activated and he looks better again. But if this is like shoulder issues and he's kind of going to be shut down for a bit, that sucks. Like, that's a huge loss. Even if he's not pitching well right now, he's so much better than he's pitching. Like, there's no way that you cannot, like, look at Frankie Montas and see this guy has, like, great stuff across the board. I mean, you look at his starts with the Yankees, and he's gone 6 innings twice. In one of the games, he gave up 6 runs, and the other one, he gave up 4. Like, that's not what you're looking for. He's had 9 starts with us, and he's only gone 6 innings twice. Like, come on.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's bad. His stats comparably are ugly, when you're looking at the Yankees and Athletics, and I'll read them off to you so you have an idea. With Oakland, over 104.2 innings, 3.18 ERA, 3.21 xFIP, 9.37 strikeouts per 9, a 73.6% left on base rate, and 46% ground ball rate. Just tremendous numbers across the board, allowing about a 1 homer per 10 innings, per 9 innings rather. So that's another solid number. 2022 Yankee version of Frankie Montas is rather disappointing. Over 39 innings, 6.35 ERA, 4.69 xFIP, 7.49 strikeouts per 9, 66% left on base rate. Ground ball rate's pretty similar, 1.36 home runs per 9. I mean, this is a different player. Like, straight up, this. If you look at these stats and you compare them, and I was like, this is player A, this is player B, you're like, oh wow, like, player A is probably a top starter in this league, and then player B is Sonny Gray after being traded to the Yankees. So, that's kind of the situation that the Yankees are facing, is that once again, they get another Oakland Athletics pitcher and it bites them in the fucking head. It's not a good situation that they're trying to make. Like, okay, so here's the thing. It was obvious that they tried to mess with Montas and tried to make him better by their own accounts, right? They changed his pitch sequence. They changed his fundamentals a little bit. Why the hell are we trying to fix things that aren't broken? Like, I understand getting like a okay player who could be better, but you're bringing in like a top starter and then
Yeah,
fucking with his mechanics. Like, don't do that shit. Let him
it's
pitch his
dumb.
game. Let him be himself. Be like, whatever you were doing before, tell us what you were doing. Let's replicate that. Let's not start trying to. And like, look, the reason that I believe that they tried to mess with him a little bit and mess with his mechanics in his pitch sequence is because his pitch usage specifically is vastly, vastly different than when he was with Oakland, right? So
He's not throwing the
I
cutter
believe
like at all.
at all.
He's
So
like giving up
that's
on
a
the cutter,
huge
which
one.
doesn't make sense because it was a really solid pitch that he had. Ryan was tweeting about this during the game yesterday. Love following Ryan's Twitter during the games. It's always a good time. But he's like, Montas just got rid of his cutter. Like, why? Why are you not throwing that anymore? Even his splitter yesterday was not very good. Breaking ball, not very good yesterday. Got very few swings and misses out of the zone. His slider wasn't with it. Like you could see him struggling to go through the motions with his own mechanics. And you're right. I think it's because the Yankees are just fucking with him a bit too much. Like, just let him pitch. Let him do what he does. You don't need to tweak every pitcher we have. Some pitchers are already very good and have like their stuff figured out. And when you tweak with them and you see that they start pitching a little bit worse and changing things and are getting worse results to speak from it, then that's a problem. And that's what's happening with Montas right now. Like that's also what
It
happened with
is.
Sonny Gray. When we got Sonny, we changed his pitch selection a ton. Like we were
Mhm.
basically like, you work off of your like breaking stuff, dude. And now if you watch Sonny pitch for the Twins and the Reds in the past couple of years, he works off of his
Much
two-seam
better.
fastball more than anything.
Yeah,
Like
ask
he's
Jordan
changed.
Montgomery.
Yeah, he's
They
throwing
don't
his
let him use his
four-seam a ton.
fastball.
Yeah. I mean, I
Producing
will
good
say
numbers
like that's
too.
a bit like I think that's a bit of a like I'm thinking about this and I was looking back at it a bit. Like Jordan Montgomery, he's been great for the Cardinals, but he's also like I think it was Boone that said this where he's like he's not doing against AL East lineups. Like the lineups in the Central are not very good. We just played
That's
the
fair.
Brewers. Like the Brewers are terrible. Like I don't know
They
how
should have won that
yesterday
game.
we did not win that game. Like the Brewers
Yeah.
are awful. But I don't know. I'm just a little bit worried now because it's like, yeah, and losing like Montgomery now and seeing Montas potentially go to the IL just makes that deal hurt even more. I'm really excited to see Bader because he's looking like he is like game speed ready already at
Crushing it.
Somerset. Yeah, he's playing
Mhm.
really well there. He's also making some nice plays, tracking the ball in center field as well. So that's good because it looks like his foot looks fine. But we're gonna now basically, if Montas is out for an extended period of time, it's gonna be the Herman Taillon show again. And it's like, ooh, I know Domingo's pitched quite well, so I'll give him the flowers for that. He's pitched really well the past like 2 months, but I still don't trust Domingo Herman in a postseason baseball game. Like, call me crazy.
That's very valid. That's very valid. And, you know, just discussing Frankie Montas's pitches and the change of sequence, essentially. Let's look back at July, right? July, he was using his split finger 29.2%, sinker 25%, four seamer 23%, and slider 14%. His cutter was hovering around 9 to 10% every month. You know, probably actually more like 9 to 15%. But then you fast forward to August and really let's look at September's numbers. That's the recent ones, obviously. Four seam fastball has increased to 36%, split finger 27%, slider about 19%, and sinker has dropped to 16.2% from 25%. His four seam fastball has seen about a 14% increase, a 13% increase in usage. I don't know what it is, but the opposing hitters are hitting 286 against his fastball,
Yeah.
his four seamer. I don't understand why they're shoving the four seam. I really don't get it. It doesn't make any sense to me. And the cutter has dropped down to 2.2% this month. He's not using it at all. And the slider specifically, his slider's been god awful. 417 hitters are hitting against him, 750 slugging percentage. With a homer and 5 hits over 12 at bats, his
So
slider is just
weird.
absolute shit. It makes no sense because you look back at July and his slider was doing. I guess it's not his best pitch. They were hitting 375 against in July, and in June they were hitting 200. So like it's not been his best pitch all year. He's really like a really good sinker, split finger fastball
Yeah, but
thrower.
he's not really working off that as much now. Like everything's
Yeah.
low and everything's not really like a very challenging pitch. Like yesterday, the 4-pitch walk to Jace Peterson made me almost throw my TV out the window. Like, why the hell are we
Yeah,
walking
that's
Jace
crazy.
Peterson on 4 pitches, Frankie?
Yeah.
Like it just seems like he like, and it's been every start. It's been sometimes he gets through it, but either way, he labors through every start with us so far. And the bad ones really stick out. Like Sonny Gray, when he arrived with us, his first like 8 or 9 games, he was really good. Like people forget he had a sub 2.5 ERA with the Yankees in his first 8 starts. And then it went downhill from there. But with Frankie, it's like, dude, we need you to pitch deeper into games. We can't be having these 4-inning starts and trying to get by. It ruined the entire bullpen yesterday. And then, of course, the Yankees, for whatever reason, are just blacklisting Ron Marinaccio. I don't get that at all. He hasn't pitched since Sunday. So it's like, why are we not using one of our best reliever? Okay, whatever. Um, but Frankie, it's so weird to watch him because you can tell with his stuff that he has such good stuff. And you can see like why we traded for him sometimes. But when he labors and he's not pitching with confidence and his out pitch especially isn't there, you see starts like last night. And it's been more of those than it has been the good starts since he's been a Yankee. And that sucks, but that's the facts. I still think he can turn it around, but I don't even know if he's going to get a shot to. Like, if he gets shut down with like a shoulder injury, his season's probably over.
Yeah, he can't even ramp up then. That's a good point. So, the version of Frankie that we've seen with a 7 ERA in August and a 5.14 ERA in September is not the one that we prefer. He's given up 8 runs in his last 9 innings, including 13 hits. I mean, the guy's getting absolutely batted around, right? He's not striking out batters. He struck out 2 batters yesterday, 4 batters against the Rays on the 9th. This is a pitcher who they clearly messed with, and he clearly is responding poorly to it. He had a shoulder injury earlier this year, I believe, but it wasn't that. I don't think it's as serious as that. So that's a good sign for the Yankees. But again, I don't have any faith in the guy right now. Like, I don't.
Yeah.
Am I considering him a number 2? Not a shot.
No. Nestor's my number 2.
Burning hell.
Nestor's my number 2.
Yes, Nestor Cortez is my number 2 as well. And I'm going to be straight with you. I think Luis Severino is my number 3 right now. He hasn't pitched in a couple of weeks, but if he gets a couple of good starts going for us over the home stretch here, and he looks sharp, I'm 100% giving him the ball over Montas. That's not even a question. You know what I mean?
Montas has to earn that. You can't just give him like the label of, oh yeah, you're gonna be our game 2 or game 3 starter.
Just because he was
like
traded
you have
for.
to earn, just because he was traded for. Like, you have to earn that. That's how it is. I mean, Sonny Gray, I want to say that year, or maybe it was the year after, he didn't like make a start in the postseason because he was struggling. So they used him out of the bullpen. Like, Montas has to earn his spot. The guy we traded for is not what we've seen right now. Like, this is not the number 2 behind Garrett Cole, the guy that was literally neck and neck with Luis Castillo in every major category. This is a shell of who that was. And it has to come from, he's got to be injured. He maybe just can't handle the pressure in New York. Like, I don't know. It's very weird. And I'm, I guess, worried to monitor now his shoulder. Because if we have like shoulder, like he said he has a shoulder impingement in his shoulder, which is never good. Because I'm pretty sure that's what Ron Marinaccio had, and then he went to the IL for like a month with shoulder fatigue. So if this is something that's a bit more problematic than the Yankees are also making it seem, which they do all the time, then I'm going to be pissed. Because if they're like, oh yeah, this isn't as bad as his last shoulder injury, he'll be fine. And then next thing you know, it's Frankie Montas has been shut down from throwing activity for 2 weeks. Because that's how the Yankees operate this year with their injury notices. Like, they don't tell you how it is half the time. It's just a lot of like jibber jabber. But it's just crazy because like Gabe, Playoff Tanaka, a good friend of the channel, he posted a really interesting tweet today. Frankie Montas at the Oakland Coliseum this year, 12 games started, 72 1/3 innings pitched, 2.37 ERA. Frankie Montas at every other ballpark in baseball, 15 games started, 71.1 inning pitched, 5.82 ERA. Maybe he did just benefit from playing in one of the most pitcher-friendly ballparks in baseball. I don't know. But what we've seen right now in the past month of Frankie Montas is not the guy we traded for. And I don't think it's like the guy he really is either. Like, I think he's a much better pitcher than he's shown, obviously. Like, there's no way that he can just be this mid after being that highly touted, and we traded a good amount for him, and we went through the whole process of getting him, and tried to get him in the before the season as well, but we couldn't because there was so much like a lot of murmuring going on with the Twins as well. Like, that was, as you remember, that was happening with Sean Manaea as well in the offseason. And then he Padres got really shafted by that. But Frankie, dude, we need more from him. He needs to be better. He needs to be more consistent. So hopefully this is a phantom IL, but I'm not getting my hopes up.
Yeah. No, I agree. Look, it's definitely not what we expected, but the Yankees have enough starting pitching support that they can supplement if need be, which is a very good sign, a very good piece of information to harp on now that Montas is kind of showing us that he cannot be relied on. But again, really interesting stat. I'm surprised the Yankees didn't realize that they were trading for a guy that really dominated just playing at home as an Oakland Athletic. and struggled away. So I had to
It's because it
imagine
was
that
such a small sample size that it's like,
Mhm.
okay, maybe we shouldn't care that much. But now you're looking at it and you're like, okay, like he's now played in more games away from Oakland, and they're just getting like worse.
Yeah, yeah, and look, I think that there are things that maybe are just aren't going his way. Like he's getting a little bit unlucky at times. Like there's a
Yeah,
couple errors that occur and whatever. But they're making contact on it. The pitch sequence is definitely weird. I don't really understand what Blake and the coaching staff is kind of doing there. But they obviously know more than we do. So hopefully they're
of
doing the right
course.
things and they have a plan in mind. But maybe it was more about getting him more comfortable with some pitches because come the postseason, maybe they want to like mix it up a little bit more. They just wanted him to ramp up with some pitches specifically
Yeah,
and just kind of tweak some things and see if they could get a little bit more, like they like his arm motion or whatever. And they thought he could get a little bit more velocity, a little bit more movement on some of those pitches.
that's
So
true.
who knows? Could be a myriad of different things, but obviously it's not working. So we're all kind of like, we're thinking about the short-term concept and they're thinking like, how can we get this guy playoff ready? But again, it is what it is. Hopefully they can ramp it up here and he's okay. He's healthy. And doesn't have to miss any time because he definitely needs the rest of the season to get going, especially if we're going to rely on him come the playoffs. But guys, I'd love to hear your thoughts and perspectives below in the YouTube comments. As always, appreciate tuning into the channel. Have a great rest of your day. Enjoy the game tonight, and we'll catch you guys on the next Fireside Yankees episode.